Yo, what up, Kev?
What up? What up? What up?
Chilling, man. Lot of man. It's gonna be a, it's gonna be a heavy one, boy.
Little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we should probably let everyone know too, right? That we are recording the evening of Saturday, the 30th. So this episode will air on Tuesday, whatever date that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we don't get interrupted by those text alerts about the curfew.
Yeah, because right now as we speak, there's a 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. curfew in Los Angeles. Right outside my window, I can hear fireworks and shots. I'm out in West Covina. I'm about, for those of y'all who are not familiar with the landscape of the greater Los Angeles area, I am maybe 20 miles east of LA. So I'm right next to a city called La Puente. There's a fair amount of energy. People are a little like, there's an edge, but it's not towards each other. It's just towards the, just an edge towards the feeling in the world right now, like this around us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just to document this moment, this is a Saturday evening, May 30th that we're recording, and this is what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, yeah. So the opening question is real quick. Not a long time ago, maybe 10 episodes ago, the World Health Organization, what was on Pocket? I'm trying to remember where the information came from. I believe it was on Pocket that said, like, in order to maintain your mental health, you need to read 2 articles a day only. 2 news articles a day only, right? That was the suggestion.
Right, limit your consumption, right?
Right. With all of this going on, Kev, how healthy are you right now? I've asked you this question before.
I am the most unhealthy person. That was probably my answer then as well, if you asked me before. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I've been trying to stay away from certain things though that I might otherwise, be checking out a little more heavily.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in great shape, but no, it's definitely the stress is more than made up for, whatever I've gained by not reading as much news.
Yeah, I would say that I'm probably the least healthy person. That is the least healthy I've ever been. But I've been, checking the news and checking articles and checking information and fact checking information and double checking information and trying to get away from responding to people because I don't, opinions, or I have my own opinions, of course, and you can agree or disagree with them. But I'm attempting to just sort of stay away from the more antagonistic opinion, the one that's not well thought out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that in and of itself is difficult because you feel like you got to just shut people down, and that's not really your job all the time. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's definitely the move.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So fairly heavy episode. Y'all know what's going on right now if y'all watching the show. So this is Rap Sucks Radio, man. We gonna see y'all on the other side. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Rap Sucks Radio. Blah, 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 blah.
What up, y'all? You alive on Rap Sucks Radio with your homeboy Track Life and your fam, Kev Sakota.
Yep.
Yo, if you would like to catch this episode, audio version of this episode, I'll explain in a moment. You can catch it on rapsucksradio.com or any of your favorite podcasting platforms, with the random exception of Pandora. However, special announcement for those of you guys who do not know, we are live on BTSN Pass on your Roku and your Amazon. You can see my beautiful face and Kev's ugly mug right there for y'all. So tune in Tuesdays when these episodes drop on BTSN Pass. You can download the BTSN channel on Behind the Scenes Network. BTSN. I'm sorry.
I am also separately.
Real quick, you could download the channel on your Roku or your Fire Stick. And when you click on it, we will be there along with a host of other brilliant, magnificent behind-the-scenes information. So Rap Sucks Radio is now live on your television. Kev, my bad for cutting you off. Jump on in, brother.
No, my bad. And shout to Badru, Polly Rob.
Yes, sir.
Local astronauts.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, this is not to be confused, however, with my individual appearances on the BTS fan club channel, which you can also check me out on.
My understanding is from my daughter that K-pop actually killed J-pop.
Well, it was only a matter of time. Revenge is a dish best served cold.
I was gonna say it, but I'm glad I wasn't the one to say it. Yo, so we about to jump into it, man. We as y'all know, we on doing too much. Police officer Derek Chauvin is doing too much. The reason
way too much,
and for reasons that are really no joking matter. A lot of times the doing too much has a flare of humor to it occasionally or whatever, but there's no humor to this whatsoever. These are very serious times. George Floyd, rest in peace to George Floyd. The reason why Derek Chauvin is doing too much is because George Floyd died after saying he can't breathe with Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck. I sourced the Griot. This is everywhere. You can pick it up on Fox News, CNN, ESPN, everywhere this is being discussed because it deserves to be discussed. Just to give the basic information about what happened during a convenience store called the police on Mr. Floyd, saying that he had paid with a counterfeit $20 bill and that he was acting strangely. The police showed up and violently arrested Mr. Floyd, or basically Derek Chauvin kept his knee on George Floyd's neck in spite of witnesses begging him to stop, and also, of course, Mr. Floyd begging him to stop. This led to Mr. Floyd's untimely death, and the police tried to say that he was ordered to step out of his car. After he got out, he physically resisted the officers. Video proved that otherwise. So now, the president has responded in probably the worst way that you could respond to something like this. Now we are in I don't know how to put it, man. I don't know the words for it. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard, very hard, and I'm going to try to read through this without being too emotional, because it's very difficult for me, because I refuse to watch the video, so reading the words are a little rough for me. But during the what we can just all consider an assault by the police officer, Mr. Floyd, the victim of said assault, said, "Look, my stomach hurts, my neck hurts, everything hurts. I need water or something." He continued, "Please, please, I can't breathe." To the officer, "I cannot breathe, I cannot breathe." And then he even called for his mother, followed by agonizing groans, and then he seemed to pass out, at which point he eventually passed away. Other police officers were standing by, watching it happen. Mr. Chauvin seemed as though he didn't care. It was very much out of whatever police procedure is necessary in that moment. He was... I just, that's the basic information. Kev, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I kind of told you I didn't know how to approach this.
Yeah.
And that is reflected also in, which I think has a certain amount of weight in itself. Obviously not as much weight as the weight that's being borne by, Mr. Floyd, his family, the people of Minneapolis. So I decided to actually kind of put pen to paper, which I try not to do too much here. But at times like this, I feel like it's a better course of action.
Yep.
So that I don't go too crazy and out of pocket. But yeah, I mean, I haven't commented very much about any of this, in this house, much less in public on social media, which is pretty much our public these days.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, people are still dying of the virus. But I definitely been checking out how folks are reacting individually, to all the unfolding events from, he was murdered on Monday night.
Right.
So it's been less than a week, and the events have unfolded, certain ones quicker than we would have thought. Some developments took longer than we would have wanted. There are many people who I agree with wholeheartedly in whatever form they've chosen to express themselves. There are some who I disagree with completely. and a few who I kind of just look at with a side eye, wonder why, the sentiment needed to be expressed at all. But all that said, this is certainly a stressful time. So I hesitate to publicly judge anyone's particular words. I would hope that they are trying not to judge other people's words or feelings.
Problem number one.
Even though they are.
Yeah.
But so, that said, I'm going to say something here because I have a mic in front of me and this is what we do.
Yep.
And for whether there's one person out there listening or a lot, I'm going to say something. So what I'd offer to every single person out there, especially the sort of self-declared allies, is, regardless of how close or how far this hits home for you, in your heart of hearts what it means to be in real pain or to experience utter sadness or just to seethe, just with straight up anger. And when you are in that position, in the midst of maybe just trying to sort out your feelings for yourself, how are you going to react, how bad it is. If you're like me, you're not trying to hear anyone else's input on how you should act. And regardless of who you are right now, there are a lot of people around you who may very well be in a great deal more pain than you are. So for whatever that's worth, just try and check that out and realize that. So like I said, I have a few admittedly unsolicited suggestions for thoughts that you may think and what you should do when you think those thoughts. And I'm talking to people who have a lot of opinions out there, since I know you're good with your fingers and your thumbs on the computer. Anytime, not just now, but anytime you catch yourself thinking silently in a situation like this, well, what did he do? Take a moment and remember the very little you still know about the cases of Trayvon Martin, of Eric Garner, of Michael Brown. And then when you catch yourself saying, why didn't she just listen to the cops? Google Tanisha Anderson, Sandra Bland, Pamela Turner, Tatiana Jefferson. And then when you get ready to post that clever meme about not blaming the good apples for the action of the bad apples, just stop, hit cancel, and spend some time learning about Ezell Ford, Laquan McDonald, Dante Parker, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Philip White, Eric Harris, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, Jamar Clark, Botham Jean. And if you still find yourself puzzled and disconnected, and especially if you still want to offer your unsolicited opinion on why anyone would protest in whatever fashion they damn well felt like protesting, if you're still so cool, you still have so much ice water running through your veins after doing the very minimal bit of remembrance I just asked you to do, that you still don't understand that, then maybe, just maybe, folks can get pushed to the point where they don't give a damn about your opinions, about anyone's opinions. To make sure you also realize that the stories of Sean Reed, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and yes, George Floyd just hit your news feed within the last month. And stop. Cut it out. Knock it off. Go hug your mother. Go hug your daughter. Go hug your son. And feel lucky that you have the ability to do any of these things, because these people don't. And that's all I have to say. Literally all I have to say about it.
It's a mic drop moment. I think my point in this, and I've already made it on my IG TV or whatever. I've made a lesser important point about people using their art as a voice and to feel more empowered to speak with your voice through these moments, and I stand by that. But the more important point is this. riots are uncomfortable, right? They're absolutely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The imagery of a riot is just uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but it is, right?
Sure.
However, the image of another black man laying on the ground, dead after the police decided to take martial law on the street, is even worse. 90% of the names you named were unarmed. Unarmed.
I'm pretty sure they all were.
Well, I mean, we can argue Philando Castile,
Yeah.
who you see what I'm saying? Like, unarmed. Unarmed, man. What do you want from people after a while? For people to finger wag at the civil unrest, at the response to this, it's childish and ridiculous. For people to throw around Martin Luther King's name like you can just paper plane this just anytime you feel like it, anytime black people are upset, you want to finger wag holding up Martin Luther King's name. You disgust me. You're disgusting people. Mm-hmm. But I do ask you this question. Who killed Martin Luther King? Arguably the most prominent, peaceful protester in American history was murdered by the U.S. government for protesting, for speaking out. Now, here you are trying to pontificate about what will work and what will not work. Shut up. Shut up and listen. Shut up and pay attention. For once, just for once. Turn your thumbs off and watch. What's left? Everybody steps to a podium and makes promises. President is damn near threatening people on the internet. What's left? What's left but to be so angry? Maybe a government plant started it, but the rage was there. The rage was already ready. And that's fine. We can argue that there's an escalation of that rage. I'm all for that argument. I'm all for that discussion. But what I'm trying to explain to you is, if there is no Kindle, that match don't light nothing. It don't light nothing.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
It's just a random dude breaking a window. You know what I'm saying? So maybe listen. Maybe just listen. Maybe just pay attention. I know it's really hard. I know. I understand, man. You really like Target. I like Target too. But what I don't like is watching 3 of my people be murdered in less than a month, let alone the last couple of years, let alone the lifetime of history that I've learned about this, let alone James Byrd, who was not murdered by a police officer, but was murdered racially, let alone watching story after story about people like Dylan Roof who walk into a church and murder people and then get taken for a stupid cheeseburger by the police. When do you listen? When do you learn? When do you decide, yo, good people and thugs is probably not the best way to describe this, right? Because one of those same good people, allegedly, ran over a protester and killed her in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. We can have conversations about crime. We could have conversations about crime in every neighborhood. I could tell you right now, where there's poverty, there's crime. You can switch the race if you want to. Go ahead. Where there's poverty, there's crime. We can have a discussion about crime, but it's definitely a separate discussion, because when those that are paid and sworn to protect and serve a community are murdering the people within that community and seeing them as less than valuable, who are they protecting? Who are they protecting? And my last point, For any police officer out there that watches this show, listens to this show, listens and watches and whatever. If you are an alleged good cop, which I'd imagine there have to be a fair amount of. If you're a police officer that just wants to do your job, a dangerous job, in fact, we discussed it on this show. It's an extremely dangerous job, and where it's not a job I would ever take, and where it's a job that I question a lot of what is done, and I recognize that it is a dangerous job and you are dealing with volatile people every day. As difficult as that is, people like Derek Chauvin make your job that much more difficult. You should be down with us. You should be on this side of the line. Right? You should be on this side of the line.
And I'm wondering, and we always wonder whenever, the problem to me is that we have this conversation at the exact wrong time to have this conversation. And I'm not saying there is a wrong time.
No, but
this is an ongoing thing, right? This is an ongoing conversation, and you and I have this conversation every week, just about.
But we've tried.
Unfortunately,
we tried to have it. Kev.
Right, no, exactly, and that's the thing is that but until something is burning, that's not the conversation starter.
Thank you.
Don't get it twisted.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the reaction to a general level of ignorance, and it's not just that. Like I played, I'm trying to learn chess with my daughter, right? So the deck is stacked against her. Not because I'm terrible, but I'm still, I have a general understanding. We played today. Everybody followed the rules, moved the pieces the way they were supposed to. She lost. She broke down in tears. I get it. We're all grown-ups here. The people whose job it is to enforce the rules have to do that in a community of people, 99.9% of whom understand the rules. Most of whom follow the rules. But you're out there sometimes holding different people to different sets of rules.
Bang.
That's enough to drive anybody crazy, whether they are a 7-year-old or a 47-year-old. And then you are not held to those same rules when you break them. That's enough to drive anyone crazy, no matter how old they are or how young they are. So when you do that and you drive anybody to the point where they can feel crazy, they're going to do crazy stuff. So don't use that time to try and turn into Dr. Phil and counsel somebody on how they should or shouldn't be acting or how they should or shouldn't be feeling. That's time for you to shut the hell up.
That's time for you to shut the hell up. Because I'm not saying that Colin Kaepernick is the end-all, be-all of black protesters or black, voices. But you ignored that message and played around with it.
Yeah. You think it's funny.
Yeah.
Until it ain't funny.
Until it ain't funny.
And it was never meant to be funny.
Not once. Not once was it ever meant to be funny. Matter of fact, not once was it ever really about you. How about that?
Right.
How about the fact that this ain't about you? Right? Let's break a couple of things down. Right? When a child at the border is separated from their mother or father, I'm a United States citizen. I'm a citizen of the U.S. I was born a citizen. That moment is not about me, right? Technically, I'm not going through it, but my compassion and my voice is on the side of the oppressed, right? When an Asian man or woman is assaulted by an ignorant idiot because of a pandemic that they didn't cause, that individual didn't cause anything, that moment is not about me. I'm not going through it. But my voice is on the side of the assaulted and the afflicted. So where are you at when it's not about you? You know what I'm saying? Where are you at when it's not about you? Why are you incapable? I mean, I hate to turn this show into what it's turned into, in this moment, but sometimes this is needed. It needs to be uncomfortable. You need to watch your TV and see destruction. You need to watch your TV and see what pain feels like. You need to watch your TV and go, you know what? This is the fault of everybody who was silent. Because Kev listed off well over a dozen names. And you were quiet through damn near all of them. You made excuses through damn near all of them. You made up reasons through damn near all of them.
And that's just the last few years.
That's just the last few
That's
years.
just the last few years when things have supposedly been getting better.
Allegedly, yes. Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes.
You know, I heard, I haven't watched, I have not watched a lot. I don't watch a lot of local news.
Right.
Period. In just the few minutes I watched today, hearing some of the cops talk in various cities, just about to a person.
Right.
And I'm not handing out awards here by any stretch, but at least acknowledged that there was a reason for people to be upset.
Yes.
You know, it sometimes gets followed by a number of different, deflections or excuses or, just the word but, and then a bunch of stuff I stopped listening to. But I feel like you're hearing that a little bit more. There are cops, especially police officers who, are black or brown, who are speaking out in ways that we have not heard them speak out before.
Yes.
That's good.
That's great.
Not enough.
That's great.
Keep going. Yeah, keep it up.
Until every every police officer, when they take off their badge tonight, when they go into that locker and they put their things away and they head home safely to their families, children, whomever. Think about why you were there in front of those protesters. Think about Derek Chauvin. He is who has you there, not those people. Right. Without Derek Chauvin, nobody's out there. People don't riot because it's Friday, fam. They don't riot. Oh man, it's Tuesday riot. Nobody does that. People riot for a reason. There's civil unrest for a reason. If you're a police officer and you're out there right now, or you were out there earlier, whoever you are there to protect the area against is actually not the reason why you're there. You know what I'm saying? It's cause and effect. So I just don't understand why this is so difficult to comprehend for so many people. It just seems so hard for people to comprehend it. And people want to, like I said, there's a lot of pontification. And sure, I have my opinions. And Kev, you have yours. And we feel like we're on the side of right. And some people feel like they're on the side of right. But at the end of the day, sometimes you got to shut up and listen. Sometimes you got to shut up and pay attention. And right now is one of those moments.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So.
Definitely.
We have spent.
Maybe everybody's doing too much.
Most people are at least. But right now, there's curfews, etc. I'm like, man.
Yeah, ain't that a trip? There's a curfew.
Right.
Emergency curfew when you are supposed to be in your house
anyway. Right? But there's such a cause to take to the street that you like, nah, man, I'm outside now, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you had it. You had it under control.
Yep.
Everything was good.
Yep.
Relatively speaking. We're in a crazy world, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, man. I think just to lighten it up, we had a subject last week that we didn't approach. And when I say lighten it up, I still want you to be uncomfortable. But I definitely want to make sure I get 2 topics in on my show. So there's that.
Okay.
So please stay very uncomfortable. Please dislike everything that's going on. But we're going to talk about insects for a minute. Mm-hmm. The title of this topic is Bugging Out. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Fife Dog.
Yep.
So peace. This happened already, Kev? I think
I don't know because it's not happening here, but I think it's supposed. I don't know.
I'm not sure if it happened already or if it was gonna happen.
Little distracted, Trek.
Yeah, a little distracted, definitely. After spending 17 years underground, millions of cicadas are about to emerge in parts of the country, reported by KCTV5. The players involved are cicadas, gross-looking insects. As many as one.
By the way, no relation to Kev Sakota.
Would you be considered a gross-looking insect, Kev? I'm sure that's a little extreme, right?
You said I had an ugly mug.
Well,
I did not disagree.
that is not entirely false, but I wouldn't say gross-looking insect. Also, I am not the person to be able to judge that, right? So that was just shot fired over the bow since you dissed the updated Gordon Gartrell last week. So there's that. I held that grudge for a full week.
Wow.
As many as 1.5 million, Kev, 1.5 million cicadas per acre. I'm sorry, I got to run that back.
Per acre.
As many as 1.5 million cicadas per acre will surface in parts of Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia, according to Virginia Tech University. People who live in these regions will, this is a quote, people who live in these regions will experience a unique natural phenomenon that has not occurred in most of these areas since 2003-2004, the university said in a statement published on its website. Cicadas occur either naturally every year or periodically every 13 to 17 years. This is an uprising, depending upon the species. Periodical cicadas are subgrouped into 12 different broods, which cover a specific geographical region and overlap in some areas.
Damn, nature.
I was wondering if you were going to. I was waiting for that.
I got you.
How big are these bad boys? And girls.
So these things are about an inch. An inch to 2 inches big, man.
Because I've been to, we visited Chicago when they had the annual run of the cicada. And they're not cute.
No, they are not.
No, they don't pop out and you're like, oh, look at that. They're nasty.
They're nasty. And apparently they're loud because, and it continues. Yeah.
That's nasty.
Communities and farms with large numbers of cicadas emerging at once may have a substantial noise issue, predicts Eric Day, an entomologist at Virginia Tech. I love the fact that I watched the show Archer because the word entomologist actually makes me laugh because I watched that show. Hopefully, what's up? Wait, go ahead, Kev.
No, it's funny that you make references to a show that I watch fairly religiously, but you watch it so religiously that I still don't even understand half of the things you say about the show.
I'm going to explain it.
It's okay,
I'm going to end the show with an explanation. Hopefully, any annoyance at the disturbance is tempered by just how frequent and amazing this event is. All right. They don't pose any threat to people, but they do harm orchids, vineyards, and ornamental trees.
Ornamental?
Christmas trees is...
Oh, ornamental. I thought you said oriental.
Oh, my God. Christmas trees is... Don't put nothing on a Christmas tree. The cicadas eat it.
Can Asian people get a break?
Cicadas is after y'all. All right. So, the entomologist joke. So real quick, I'm going to end the show. For those of you guys who watch Archer and may have missed this part or whatever. So on the show Archer, cartoon/television show, one of the best shows ever in my opinion. There was a 3-episode, it was off season, right? They just randomly dropped 3 episodes. And Archer was trapped on an island and he was trapped with an entomologist who they kept joking about his profession and how worthless being an entomologist is. Or what he was studying in college. He was yet to be an entomologist. He was studying when he was captured by the natives of the island. So there's that.
Fantastic.
Now go watch the show.
If it weren't for entomologists, we wouldn't have all these cicadas.
That's true. It's the entomologist's fault.
That is the level of logic that is engulfed social media.
Exactly. Bring out the cicadas. Anyway,
damn you, Fauci.
Thank you all for tuning in to Rap Sucks Radio. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. First of all, before we shout out where you can listen to the show, I do want to make sure that you tune in, download the channel BTSN Pass on your Roku or your Amazon Fire Stick or Fire TV. You could check us out. We got visuals. Kev did an intro. Woo, son. Woo. Bananas. We out there. So you can now see us on BTSN Pass. You can also catch us, the audio of this, and any other episode, any of our past episodes we've been rocking for over a year. So rapsucksradio.com or any of your other favorite podcasting platforms, from Spotify to Apple to Google to Stitcher, with the random exception of Pandora. We'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. I am your homeboy Trek Life, and that is your fam, Kev Sakota.
Yep.
And on the count of three, we say peace. 1, 2, 3. Peace.
Peace. We love you.
Love y'all. We out.
I think.